What's up guys, it's Scoopman5000. Today we're finishing off the Venompool series with Morbius, the living vampire, and Phage. And so these guys are kind of the oddballs of the set. You got Phage, who's completing that Life Foundation symbiote set. And the only figure that isn't related to the symbiotes at all in this series is Morbius, because the movie was announced and we want to cash in on the hype there. But I would have liked to see another symbiote, but instead we get Morbius. They're both in the standard Venom series packaging, but Morbius has no Venom branding. Even on the top, it's a blank logo. On each side, you're getting some artwork for the figures. And then on the back, you got the Build-A-Figure information and the read-ups. So Morbius is Michael Morbius, the living vampire, who prowls the night, tortured by his life-sustaining thirst. And for Phage, the Phage symbiote gives its host the ability to forge incredibly dangerous bladed weapons to attack its victims. And that does it for the packaging, so let's get to it and crack open these figures. And here's looking at Phage out of the packaging, and for accessories he's pretty light, but for himself I guess you can count his back piece is kind of this spiked insert on his back. That could be counted as an accessory, and then you're also getting a Symbiote Blade that's supposed to peg into his hand. And I'll try to get a decent picture of that, but my blade here actually doesn't have a peg. When I first got it out of the packaging I didn't know what to do with it, but there's actually supposed to be a yellow peg right in here. But mine, I looked all over, I did not see it. So I'm pretty sure this came out of the factory like this, so I can't really use it. I could go ahead and try to put it on the figure's arm, and I can kind of get it to rest there if I really wanted to. So it's displayable, but at the end of the day, there's supposed to be a peg here. It's supposed to articulate maybe a little bit and be a bit more secure. As I'm saying that, of course, it's not going to fall. So it's not the end of the world, but I might go ahead and pick another one up just to have my own sanity about it. But then what you're getting here is essentially a yellow version of Carnage. Of course, he comes from the Life Foundation symbiotes, like I said. It's really cool that we're getting more of that team. And the unique aspect of his design here is the spikes. So like I said, there's the back piece. You can get a better look at that. Pegs right out. And you can get a better look at that, almost bat-shaped. And then you're getting those same spikes on the forearms and the calves, which are really the only unique pieces here on the body. Other than that, he's another Bucky Cap mold. You can bring in the previous Carnage from the previous Venom wave, and you can see how similar he is. He's going to look good next to Carnage, although technically Carnage wasn't really involved in his story. But when you actually watch the Venom movie, there was a symbiote that was yellow. I guess that could be him or Scream. And going ahead and bringing in Scream, you can see she's actually a much brighter gold. She's a much brighter color. She's more yellow, and I guess Phage would be more gold colored. And so even despite them being both yellow symbiotes, they're going to look different together on the shelf. Scream, of course, being very difficult to stand because of the big hair. And once we get Agony, that's going to be the same issue. And then we can bring in Lasher, who I have those tendril pieces, but they're just away in a bin. But you can see they're all going to look great together, the Life Foundation symbiotes. I can't wait to get Riot and Agony. We can complete this team from Venom Lethal Protector. But to get more into the figure, we can look at the head sculpt here. So here the two symbiote eyes are actually kind of connected in the middle. But overall, the head sculpt's really good, actually. The teeth here are actually a lot better than the Venom movie teeth. And he's got the kind of fibers in his mouth sticking out. The tongue is back there, but it's not sticking out like most of the other symbiotes do. So again, he looks a lot more like Carnage. He's just basically a yellow version of him. The gold plastic here works for a symbiote, I think. And it's not gummy, and it's also not swirly, despite it being this pearly gold color that's known to have that issue. So no complaints on that. And then for paint deco, what you're getting on this guy is a very similar paint deco to the Carnage, like I said. We'll go ahead and bring him back in. There's actually much less paint on him. But the Venom Lethal Protector was pretty early comic, so it did have, simplistic enough art. And he's going to go along with Scream and Lasher. He fits in with that aesthetic. So it's almost striped in some areas, like on the upper shoulder here. And then you get a chest design that loosely follows the musculature. You can see kind of where the chest would be, and then down into the abs over here. On the shoulders, you get a pretty nice design that carries over to the back. And even if you take off this back piece, you can see the whole back is covered in that black symbiote color, which is cool. Then for the lower back, the lower legs, everything like that, it's all plain gold. The biceps as well. But then you go back into the forearms. Again, these are a unique sculpt. These seem like attached parts, but they're glued on. So it's black attached rubber parts and then some paint going outside of that. You get nothing on the hands, and these are smaller than the Carnage hands that were used on the Bucky Cap body, and maybe just a little bit bigger than the Lasher hand. So I don't know if these are new, but they're not like any other figures I have. And then again, plain legs down here goes down into the calf pieces, and that's where you're getting some more paint, those same rubber attachments. And then the feet are done in the simple, older symbiote style. Again, similar to Carnage, and then the other previous Venom figures on the Hyperion body, it's just those booted looking legs to get a very classic, simple looking symbiote design. Then to go over articulation for Phage, the head is on an awesome hinge and ball joint, so he's looking all the way up, and he's going to go all the way down as well. He's got the ab crunch that looks back pretty far, forward as well. Shoulders on a hinge and swivel. You get the upper bicep cut, pretty good double jointed elbow, and then a wrist rotation and hinge. You get the rotation at the waist, decent enough splits, upper thigh cut. you get the double jointed knee, you get the boot cut, and then you get the hinge and the ankle rocker at the feet. So obviously it's Bucky Cap body, but there's a reason they reuse it so much, because the articulation is very usable. And that's Phage all but taken care of, so now let's get to it and do some comparisons. So we'll bring in the previous Monster Venom Carnage, and then we'll also bring in Black Suit Spider-Man. We'll bring in the other Life Foundation symbiotes, Lasher and Scream. And Hasbro, you've gotten this far, so let's get Riot and Agony and complete this team. And then here's the Maximum Venom figures from this wave. We got Ghost Spider and Miles Morales. And then here's this wave's Carnage and Movie Venom. And overall, that covers Phage, a needed figure for the Life Foundation symbiotes. I can't wait to get the rest of them. Hopefully we get another Venom wave sooner rather than later. But now we'll go ahead, we'll finish off this Build-A-Figure wave. We'll look at the living vampire, Morbius. And here's Morbius, our final figure of the Venompool wave, and pretty perfect wave in terms of being themed. And then we throw in Morbius, who is a Spider-Man related character, but nothing to really do with the symbiotes. And for that sake, I almost wish maybe we got Riot or Agony or another symbiote related character. But obviously we're getting Morbius here because the Jared Leto movie is at least coming up somewhat soon. We got a trailer for it. And Morbius has had one previous figure from Hasbro, and this is a much different look. So that figure was classic Morbius. Right here we have 90s Morbius. And I always love 90s designs, and especially as action figures, I think they just translate so well. And that's the same thing you're getting here with Morbius. So while I would have taken a different character, another symbiote character for my shelf, I'm not too upset about getting Morbius. Again, he's another figure, light on accessories. He's just getting the Venompool Build-A-Figure piece, but you're getting nothing for the figure. Looking at the head sculpt here, it's very good, very menacing Morbius face, and I love the expression that he's got with the teeth getting ready to bite. And Morbius is a real cool character. If we're not going to get a final symbiote in this wave, I'm glad it's another spooky character, a living vampire himself, Morbius. And he's a character that I need more experience with. I got to pick up those books that he's featured in, because what little I do know about the character I really do appreciate. But really good, the fangs are popped and the teeth look very good. You can see there's clearly, each teeth is clearly kind of separated, so there's a very good look there. It's a nice white plastic for the face. The eyes are solid red with a black outline, and that's done pretty crisp. And there's some dynamic hair that I think kind of limits the posing you can do, but because the direction it's facing, it's just kind of blowing back. I think you could use this in most poses. Same could be said for the cape that's in the back here. I love the color. It really does stand out against this figure. And it also is very light, and it just pegs in the back right here. So a cape that I really don't mind at all on Morbius. He doesn't have the traditional wings in the suit, but again, just a tattered up cape. And you can kind of rotate it a bit, I guess, so you can get him in kind of a pose like that if he's standing on the rooftop or something, when you combine it with that swept back hair. So that's all good. The neck is painted here, and then we get an all new torso on him. I'm pretty sure the arms and legs come from previous figures, but the torso is brand new. And that's a very 90s design as well. Some 90s alt metal look here with the zippers and the straps and all that, and it looks very good. I'm sure this is something generic enough that maybe it could get reused down the line, but for now it's unique to Morbius. So you get kind of the shirt that flaps over here. The button is actually even folded down, so you can see this is the peg and the hole for the button, which is pretty interesting. You get even like a choker around the neck. You get a zipper up top here, and then 3 belts going down the bottom, all connected. And it makes the ab crunch a little bit less ugly because that's the base of the torso here. You just get a little bit of the ab crunch up top. And then it looks like the crotch piece as well is brand new. It leads into that design of the shirt, kind of goes down into some tight pants here. And again, these are just reused legs. It looks like they come from maybe Cosmic Spider-Man or something like that. It's one of the chunkier Spider-Mans, but still a slim body type, and that works perfectly for Morbius. And that's the same thing for the shoulders here, but you do get some brand new cuffs. These are just kind of separate pieces that slide over the wrists. That goes into some fingerless gloved hands, and these are actually the same hands we get on Phage, so that's actually a pretty clever reuse of the symbiote hands. So I guess there is some symbiote DNA on this guy after all, but they're white hands done with a purple paint job, or maybe it's the other way around. I actually can't tell because the paint here is very clean. None of the colors really bleed, so that effect of the fingerless gloves with the clawed hands turns out very well. Going over his articulation, another hinge and ball joint. He can go all the way back. The hair doesn't really block it too much. It seems like that's about all it could go anyway. And then he looks forward pretty well. The cape could articulate, you could argue that, but we'll take it off for the rest of his articulation. The ab crunch doesn't go back too far, but it goes forward good enough. You can get him in a nice crouched vampire pose. The shoulders on a swivel and a hinge, upper bicep cut, double jointed elbow, not too great, and then a swivel and a hinge at the wrist. The waist swivel is hidden pretty perfectly by that belt. Then you're getting the splits, upper thigh cut, double jointed knee, you're getting the boot cut, and then the hinge and the ankle rocker at the boot. For comparison, we'll bring in retro carded Spider-Man as well as Black Suit Spider-Man, and I don't know if he ever fought Black Suit Spider-Man as this version of Morbius, but they're both very 90s. They're going to look good together on a shelf. And this wave is hell for Spider-Man because there's so many villains for him to fight. And then for the symbiotes from this wave, we have Miles Morales and Ghost Spider. Then here's Movie Venom and Carnage. Then we'll bring back Phage and we'll throw in Hyperion Venom. And then here he is with the previous Morbius, and you could argue for each of these designs. I actually kind of like them both equally right now. Obviously the red and black is going to be more iconic, but there is just something so 90s about this one on the left that I can't resist. And you can see that this one's a lot cleaner of a white skin tone. The other one has a kind of gray black wash over it, kind of Toy Biz looking almost. And I think that figure is Bucky Cat based, if I'm not mistaken. So you get a taller, a bit more bulkier version of Morbius on the left. And now I definitely need to track down a Blade figure to fight these two. And overall, that's going to do it for Morbius and Phage. These two are kind of the oddballs of the set, but a great way to round it out nonetheless. For Phage, he's essential to complete that Life Foundation set, and I can't wait to get that whole team assembled. And then for Morbius, he's 90s goodness, and of course the Jared Leto movie is going to be big, so you're going to want to have a Morbius figure that's more recent than not, because that previous one I just showed off is probably 5 years old at this point. And with the movie Venom figure, the possibilities are endless, so maybe by the time we do get Jared Leto's Morbius, we'll get a figure of that version. Below, you know what you guys think of these figures. Overall, I've had a ton of fun with this wave. We're going to cap it off tomorrow with the Build-A-Figure himself, Venompool. I already have him built, and he's probably one of my favorite Build-A-Figures to cap off one of my favorite waves, and we're also going to be ranking this wave tomorrow. So you're going to want to see where these guys line up with the rest of the figures from the wave. If you've missed any of my reviews so far, we reviewed Venom, we reviewed Carnage, and then yesterday it was the Maximum Venom figures. I've been posting my figure photography of these guys all week on Instagram. You can follow that scoopman_5000. Let me know what you guys think of these two figures, like I said. And if you like any kind of action figure reviews, you already know where to stay, right here on the Scoopman5000 YouTube channel. We hit 100 subscribers, so you can go ahead and join those 100, and we'll see you guys in the next action figure review.